Hello, dear students. Welcome to this lecture series on law. Friends, today we'll be discussing on an important topic, that is dissolution of marriage under Hindu law. Marriage is an alliance of two persons for the establishment of their own family unit. The essence of marriage lies in sanctity, which can be preserved by requited devoutness. Although marriage claims the message of peace, yet it does not promise it. Disparities in outlook and conduct among the spouses are quite natural and cannot altogether be ruled out. However, if disparities are not addressed, there is every likelihood that they can evolve into situations that would threaten the peace and stability of marital life. But nonetheless, if the spouses have reached a point where any reconciliation seems impossible and not in their better interest, divorce allows them a more reasonable option out of this problem. The word divorce has its roots in the word divortium, which means to turn aside or to separate. It is an official or legal recognition of termination of marriage. The law relating to divorce varies from community to community in India. The Hindus are governed by the Hindu Marriage Act 1955, the Christians by the Marriage and Divorce Act 1869, the Parsis by the Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act 1936. The Muslims are governed by the laws of Quran and Sunnah and the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939. Now I will take up dissolution of marriage under Hindu law. The traditional Hindu law provided no room for divorce. Marriage was regarded as a sacrament and therefore indissoluble. The strict adherence to the notion of indissolubility of marriage does not justify that the need of divorce was not felt by the society. The most significant reforms in the traditional Hindu law of marriage were introduced by the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. The Act transformed the concept of Hindu marriage from status to contract by giving recognition to divorce. Although in the title of the Act, the word divorce does not exist, but the Act has dealt with it. Grounds of divorce. Section 13 of the Act, which deals with divorce, has been amended many times. Initially, it was restrictive in scope and even cruelty was not recognized as the ground for the dissolution of marriage. Gradually, Section 13 of the Act was amended and new grounds were incorporated. Section 13 reads as divorce. Any marriage solemnized whether before or after the commencement of this Act may, on a petition presented by either the husband or the wife, be dissolved by decree of divorce on the grounds that the other party 1. Has, after the commencement of the marriage, had voluntarily sexual intercourse with any person other than his or her spouse, or has, after the solemnization of marriage, treated the petitioner with cruelty, or has deserted the petitioner for a continuous period of not less than 2 years immediately preceding the presentation of the petition, or has ceased to be a Hindu by conversion to another religion, or has been incurably of unsound mind, or has been suffering continuously or intermittently from mental disorder of such a kind and to such an extent that the petitioner cannot reasonably expected to live with the respondent. Explanation. In this clause, the expression mental disorder means mental illness, asserted or incomplete development of mind, psychopathic disorder, or any other disorder, or disability of mind, and includes schizophrenia. The expression psychopathic disorder means a persistent disorder or disability of mind, whether or not including subnormality of intelligence, which results in abnormally aggressive or seriously irresponsible conduct on the part of the other party, and whether or not it requires or is susceptible to medical treatment, or has been suffering from a virulent and incurable form of leprosy, or has been suffering from venereal disease in a communicable form, or has renounced the world by entering any religious order, or has not been heard of as being alive for a period of 7 years or more by those persons who would naturally have heard of it had that party been alive. Explanation. In this subsection, the expression desertion means the desertion of a petitioner by the other party to the marriage without reasonable cause and without the consent or against the wish of such party, and includes the willful neglect of the petitioner by the other party to the marriage, and its grammatical variations and cognate expressions shall be construed accordingly. Either party to a marriage, whether solemnized before or after the commencement of this act, may also present a petition for the dissolution of marriage by a decree of divorce on the ground that there has been no resumption of cohabitation as between the parties to the marriage for a period of 1 year or upwards after the passing of a decree for judicial separation in a proceeding to which they were parties, or that there has been no restitution of conjugal rights as between the parties to the marriage for a period of 1 year or upwards after the passing of decree for restoration of conjugal rights in a proceeding to which they were parties. A wife may also present a petition for the dissolution of her marriage by a decree of divorce on the ground, number 1, in the case of any marriage solemnized before the commencement of this act, that the husband had married again before such commencement, or that the wife of the husband married before such commencement was alive at the time of the solemnization of the marriage of the petitioner, provided that in either case the other wife is alive at the time of presentation of the petition, or that the husband has, since the solemnization of the marriage, been guilty of rape, sodomy, or bestiality, or that in a suit under Section 18 of the Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act 1956, or in a proceedings under Section 125 of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973, a decree or order, as the case may be, has been passed against the husband awarding maintenance to the wife, notwithstanding that she was living apart, and that since the passing of such decree or order, cohabitation between the parties has not been resumed for 1 year or upwards, or that her marriage, whether consummated or not, was solemnized before she attained the age of 15 years, and she had repudiated that marriage after attaining that age, but before the attaining of 18 years. Explanation. This clause applies whether the marriage was solemnized before or after commencement of the Marriage Law Amendment Act 1976. The Marriage Laws Amendment Act 1976 also incorporated divorce by mutual consent as one of the modes for the dissolution of marriage. Section 13b, subsection 1 reads, subject to the provisions of this act, a petition for dissolution of marriage by a decree of divorce may be presented to the district court by both the parties to a marriage together, whether such marriage was solemnized before or after the commencement of the Marriage Laws Amendment Act 1976, on the ground that they have been living separately for a period of 1 year or more, that they have not been able to live together, and that they have mutually agreed that the marriage should be dissolved. The above mentioned grounds can be broadly classified into 4 categories. The first comprises 9 grounds, Section 13, subsection 1, clause 1, up to Section 13, subsection 1, clause 7. The second comprises 2 grounds, Section 13, 1a, clause 1, up to Section 13, 1a, clause 2, that are called breakdown of marriage. The third comprises 4 special grounds, Section 13, subsection 2, clause 1 to Section 13, subsection 2, clause 4, which are available only to a wife. The last is divorce by mutual consent, Section 13b, subsection 1. Fault grounds of divorce, Section 13, subsection 1 of the Hindu Marriage Act recognizes 9 fault grounds of divorce. These grounds are general grounds and are available to both the spouses. Section 13, subsection 2 give additional protection to Hindu wife by recognizing 4 additional grounds which are available to her besides 9 general grounds. The object of including these provisions was to ameliorate the status of women. She has not only been brought at par with a man, but her position has been further strengthened by providing some additional grounds for the dissolution of marriage. First ground, it is adultery. Section 13, subsection 1, clause 1 of Hindu Marriage Act says, either the husband or the wife may file a petition for divorce on the ground that the other party has, after the solemnization of marriage, had voluntary sexual intercourse with any person other than his or her spouse. Since adultery continues to be a threat to the stability of marriage, law has taken due cognizance of the fact and recognized it as a ground for divorce. Under the original text of Hindu Marriage Act, the ground was living in adultery. The single act of adultery could not entitle a person to file a petition for divorce. But later in 1976, it was realized that even a single act could be enough to disturb the peace and faith and could constitute a ground for divorce. The act was accordingly amended by the Marriage Laws Amendment Act 1976, and a single act of adultery is enough to constitute a ground of divorce. In order to constitute adultery, there must be an act of sexual intercourse between the parties, and that act must be voluntary. So far as the ground number 2 is concerned, it's cruelty. Under the original text of Hindu Marriage Act, the cruelty was not recognized as the ground for the dissolution of marriage. It was included in 1976 when amendments were made by Marriage Laws Amendment Act. Now, cruelty is a well-recognized ground for the dissolution of marriage. Although cruelty has been legally recognized as a genuine ground for the dissolution of marriage, but at the same time, no definition has been given by the Act. Being subjective, it seems right that the Act has not given any definition of cruelty. What may constitute cruelty today may not be true tomorrow, and vice versa. The courts, while interpreting cruelty, have applied different yardsticks as per the needs of time. Cruelty now in the light of court decisions. In Gurcharan Singh versus Sukhdev Kaur, AIR 1979, Punjab and Haryana 98, the wife left her husband and refused to return. She was having a 2-month-old infant, and even she left the child with the father and refused to keep the child with her, and the child died soon after her leaving. The court held that the conduct of wife amounted to cruelty, and husband's petition for divorce was decreed. In Anil Bhardwaj versus Nirmalesh, AIR 1987, Delhi, the Delhi High Court observed that the willful denial of sexual relationship by a spouse would amount to mental cruelty. The courts have taken this view consistently. The willful omission towards the health of the spouse in Rajendra Singh versus Taravati, AIR 1988, Delhi, was held to constitute cruelty. In Parim Meher versus Parami Nageshwar, Sastra, AIR 1994, Andhra Pradesh, that the removing of Mangal Sutra by the wife constitute cruelty on the husband. But a different view was taken in B.N. Panduranga versus S.N. Vijay Lakshmi, AIR 2003, by Karnataka High Court, where the court held that when a wife was schizophrenic and was alleged by the husband that she was removing Mangal Sutra and doing other things, the court, while negating it as an act of cruelty, emphasized that regard must be had to the social status, educational level of the parties, and all other relevant facts and circumstances. In Bhavna and Shah versus Nitin Chimanlal, allegations made by the wife that the husband was having illicit relationship with his real sisters was held to constitute cruelty, and the wife entitled to divorce. Cruelty can be inflicted in a number of ways. It is not physical beating which would amount to cruelty, but also mental agony caused in different ways and by different means. The courts have taken serious note of all those things which can be employed in order to constitute cruelty. Next is desertion. The essence of marriage lies in the companionship. When one spouse leaves the other without any reason or justification, the deserted spouse can ask for the dissolution of marriage. According to Section 13, subsection 1, clause IB, the desertion period is 2 years continuously. And explanation to this subsection says that desertion means the desertion of the petitioner by the other party to the marriage without a reasonable cause and without the consent or against the wish of such party, and include the willful neglect of the petitioner by the other party to the marriage. And its grammatical variations shall be construed accordingly. In order to constitute desertion as a ground for the dissolution of marriage, certain elements are significant. 1. Desertion should be without any reasonable cause. Number 2, desertion should be without the consent of the other party. Number 3, the statutory period of 2 years must have run out before the petition is presented. Reasonable cause. Sometimes circumstances may compel one of the spouse to withdraw from the society of another. It would not amount to desertion. In Ragesh Kumar versus Judge Family Court Varanasi, AIR 1988, Allahabad, husband's claim for dissolution was disallowed. The wife who withdrew from the society of husband was actually being asked by her husband to get an amount of rupees 16,000 from her parents. Similarly, in Sunil Kumar versus Usha, the wife withdrew from the society of husband due to unpalatable atmosphere in the matrimonial home. It was held that she was not guilty of desertion. Actually, the terror and tension prevailing in the matrimonial home drove her out. In Om Prakash versus Madhu, 1997, the husband and wife were living separately because husband wanted to complete his study and he did not allow her to come back. It was held that there was no desertion on the part of the wife. In Sandeep Kumar versus Samtha Kumar, AIR 2008, the wife left the matrimonial home with the permission of her husband. Later on, no effort was made by her to come back. Consequently, divorce was granted by presuming intention from the conduct. Desertion not only means actual desertion, it also includes constructive desertion. In Savitri Pandey versus Prem Chand Pandey, 2002 Supreme Court, the apex court held that the desertion means withdrawing from matrimonial obligations and not withdrawal from place. If a party withdraws from cohabitation, despite the fact the spouses are living in the same house, it amounts to desertion. To constitute desertion, it is important that factum and animus, intention to desert, must coexist. In other case, 2002 Supreme Court, the apex court emphasized that both animus and factum must coexist to constitute desertion. However, it is not important that one must precede the other. Sometimes one may leave the matrimonial home with no intention to withdraw from the society. It would not amount to desertion. If later on one forms an intention not to return and consequently not returns at all, one becomes the deserter, because at that very moment both elements, factum and animus decidendi, coexist. These two elements are not enough unless the statutory period of 2 years must have run out before the petition for divorce on the ground of desertion is presented. Desertion can be ended when the deserting spouse comes back or resumes cohabitation within the statutory period of 2 years. So friends, we came to know how adultery, cruelty and desertion can entitle either spouse to file a petition for divorce. This was all about today's topic. Hope you have understood fully. We'll be meeting again with a new topic. Till then, take care of yourself and goodbye.